Good morning. We're back on the front range of Colorado, hunting late season mule deer. It's about 6:35, 15 minutes before legal shooting light. We're going to pack things up, get up on the mountain, set up a spotting scope, and go see what we can see. I made it to my favorite glassing spot. Wind's blowing just a little bit this morning. Sun's coming up on the west ridge over here. Got the spotting scope set up. Enjoy a nice morning. Hopefully we get to see some animals moving. Well, we moved to a new glassing spot. I got a little cold. Wanted to get up and get the blood flowing a little bit, warm up my feet. So we are up on top of this little ridge, looking at some new country, see what we can see. Alright, well, kind of a slow morning, but always nice to get out. So I'm going to pack it up and head back to the truck now. We'll come up here another day. Have about a month left of this season to see if we can't turn something up and get an opportunity. Well, made it back to the truck. It was a nice morning. We'll be back to try it again. Good morning. Today's January 24th. We're here in the front range of Colorado hunting for mule deer in a late season. 6:34 a.m. First light, shooting lights at 6:50. So we're going to pack up our gear, head up the mountain, and we'll check back in with you here in a minute. Alright, we made it up here to my favorite glassing spot. Hoping to see something moving through today. Gonna glass this whole area here. The sun's hitting on it, lighting up real good. Get the spotting scope out. See what we can find. Well, we had some excitement. Had a buck and a doe came out on my favorite ridge. 3 long days of hunting up here with seeing nothing on my favorite ridge, but this is why it's my favorite ridge, because I've seen deer on it. You just have to be patient for them to show up. So I ranged her at 430 yards. I'm playing back, got some footage of it on the spotting scope with the phone scope, and footage just isn't conclusive. I think I shot over her back. It was really close. She kind of flinched. I'm not sure it's a flinch from a hit as much as a flinch from the bullet sound that scared her. She ran straight downhill, so I reviewed the footage a couple times. We'll show it for you here now, but gonna do the right thing, the diligent thing, walk across this valley and go take a look and confirm that it was a miss. But a lot of excitement this morning, a lot of fun. So this is where I was shot from. There's the spotting scope set up, and she was right there. So pretty good shot. Like I said, ranged it said 429, and I had a buck at 400 forever standing broadside, but I don't have a buck tag. And she finally poked her head out and let me get one shot at her. So we're gonna sit here for just a second. I watched that buck. He didn't even run off after the shot. He just slowly walked away. So I'm just gonna stay here and glass for a little while. Maybe I'll pick him back up and confirm that she's still doing all right, or if I hit her or not. So stay tuned. Put your head up and see what you are. That's a buck. Can't shoot a buck. That's a buck. Can't shoot a buck. Pretty sure that's a doe. That's a doe. Pretty sure that's a doe. That's a doe. buck, but I wanted to find the doe. Alright, here's an update. The buck came back out. I'll show you where he's at. See if I can zoom in on him. He's right there. I'll try and get some more phone scope of him. So he's just sitting there, just grazing. So that doe, if I did not get that doe, she very well might still be up there with next to that buck. We'll keep looking. See if we can spot her back up again. Well, it's been about 30 minutes. That buck walked into the trees and I haven't seen him come back out. So I'm going to make my way across this valley and get up on that ridge and just make a double check that I truly did miss that doe. And I don't know, maybe we'll see him again when I go across the valley, get on their side of the ridge. But always do my due diligence to make sure different animals act different ways if you do hit them. So there's a possibility, and I want to make sure that if it was a miss, it was a clean miss. So This is super steep right here, so I'll probably work my way down the valley a little bit and then back up. And I've made a couple landmarks in my memory, because once you get on the other side of the ridge, everything will look different and it's easy to get lost. So I got a fence post picked out, a stump picked out to remind myself exactly where she was at when I shot, and we'll go take a look. Alright, so I made it up to where she was standing. Haven't seen any sign of any blood yet, but making some landmark memories helped me find the spot. It's right here that this stump is what I remembered was right below her. So that helped me figure out exactly where she was standing, which is about right where I'm standing. In the video, she ran downhill right there. So I came up this side. I'll probably go back down and walk this coulee right here all the way down, just to double check I don't come across any tracks or any sign of a hit. But first I'm gonna poke over this ridge a little ways and walk this just a little ways, because this is where the buck went, and she could have very well circled back down around, joined up with him and gone that direction too. So I'll keep looking around, but always good ethical method to always come over and double check, make sure what you thought was a clean miss truly was a clean miss. So far that's what it looks like. Well, I walked that whole coulee and walked the whole top of this ridge. I didn't see any signs, so convinced it's a clean miss. I think the deer circled back and headed up this draw here. So I got a little perch here in the rocks. I'm watching this whole ridge here, see if they pop back out again. Enjoying a cup of coffee, just enjoying the day. So at least we got some action today. Got to see some animals. That was good. I sat down, had a snack, and watched this valley for a while. Those deer never popped off this ridge, so it's always awesome how they can just disappear. So I'm gonna start heading back to the truck. I'll turn the GoPro on my way out in case I bump into them. But fun morning with some action. Well, we made it back to the truck. I noticed when I got on that ridge where the deer were at that the wind was blowing pretty hard. I would say 20 miles an hour at least, maybe more, from left to right. And I played back the phone scope footage, and I can see the vapor trail from the bullet. And it looks like the bullet was drifting to the right, which would make sense with the wind, and ended up right in front of the deer's chest. So it's amazing how you always learn something. Every time I go out hunting, I learn something new. When I was sitting on the side, the opposite side where I shot from, it was calm there because it was down in the trees and not up on the ridge where the deer were at. They were up higher on the ridge of higher elevation. So I also noticed in the footage I can see the limbs around them were moving, so obviously the wind was blowing, and I just didn't stop to think to take that into account. So I knew the weather forecast said that the wind was coming from the west to the east, and it said 10 to 20 miles an hour on the forecast. Of course, you know, exactly where you're at in the mountains can always change, but that should at least told me that I knew the direction of the wind, even if I couldn't tell which way the trees were blowing. But yep, it's always good to learn a new lesson, and had a lot of fun today, and fun to see some action, and try and get back out here before season ends. Got 1 week left. Appreciate you watching. I might just put all these days into one video. I haven't decided yet. This was the most action we've had the 3 other times I've been up here, so stay tuned for more. Hopefully get back up here in the next week and hopefully see some more deer. And if it's windy, I'll keep in mind I need to hold and compensate a little bit better. A little Kentucky windage that got me today. Elk. The elk now. Good morning. It's January 26th. 2 days since we last been up here. We're making our way to our favorite glassing knob to go look at some deer. And before we got there, we could see that there's some elk up on the ridge up here, right at the very top of my favorite ridge. There it looks like at least a 5 or 6 point bull elk. Got some phone scope going of them right now. He's moved off a little bit into the trees. He's right there. So, already shaping up to be a good morning, seeing the animals moving. That's another bull. 2 bulls. Where's the deer at? Alright, so we're back up here on our favorite ridge again, our favorite glassing spot. This morning we came in on the top of this ridge and saw 2 bull elk. Got some phone scope of them, and then not long after that I spotted a herd of deer coming across exact same spot they were 2 days ago. I'm convinced it's the same deer. 2 bucks and a doe. Almost a complete repeat of the other day, except this time they were a little bit further to the left. I was having a really hard time ranging them without the sun shining on the trees, so I had to guess at yardage a little bit, which hurt me, but got one shot that just barely went over her back, I think. So a complete repeat again. We're going to go down this ridge, down to the bottom and back up again, and go double check again, make sure. It was a clean miss, but so close this time. We'll replay this phone scope footage. First we thought maybe we hit her because it was so close, just barely over her back, I think. But another beautiful day, backcountry Colorado. Go enjoy hiking down, get up on top of this ridge, and we'll check back in with you here in a minute.
Around now, but it's still broadside. Oh yeah, he's pretty. Oh, is she coming back out? No, she's just turning the other direction. Let's give me a dash. Let's try to walk by the tree.
About 450, I think.
Huh?
About 450, I think.
The one has antlers on.
Yeah.
It's the second one. The other one's gone back in the trees. Yes, that's
Okay. There it goes.
She's
Pure ice. On our way down now. Get down the valley and cross the frozen creek and head back up on the other ridge. Alright, well, we hiked all the way up on this other ridge, just like last time. Looked around, went to the spot where the deer were hanging out, did a whole bunch of circles, and again confirmed that my long distance shooting wasn't up to par today. Really close though. So, a lot of fun. Got to see 2 bull elk, 2 nice mule deer buck, and the same doe I keep chasing. So, I don't know. We might get one more chance at her before season's over, but beautiful day, a lot of fun. It's great to be able to see some animals. So, here's the view from up on top. And we were, again, shooting from right there. Well, about 550 to 600 yards, which is right on the absolute outside of my shooting ability, so definitely a challenge, but a lot of fun. Alright, we made it back to the truck, and the deer got me again, but it was a lot of fun. Cool to see some big bull elk and a couple big bucks, and the same doe that seems to elude me. Really close today. It wasn't really windy, so I didn't have to worry about that. I took care of that with my Kentucky windage, but my elevation was just off enough to shoot over her back. So, a lot of fun. We'll try and get back up here one more time before this season's over. Beautiful day in the backcountry in Colorado. Thanks for watching.